So this is an example of us playing out of the back against TSF. This is the first half. Initially, it looks pretty good. Good ball by Tony to recognize that Billy's on. Good one-touch passing here. And is at this moment, I think we just got to be a little bit more. Ethan has to be a little bit more demanding of the ball. I think Jake has to be a little more confident to find that pass so that we can get forward. We work the ball from one end to the other. Going back to the keeper here, really it just pins us in. Could he have received the ball a little bit better here to play Raphael? Possibly, because I think the forward's far enough away. But the touches, takes him back into the area we just had the ball. And now we need just quick passing. Now we need players to be able to bounce the ball to. And I don't think Ethan gets here quick enough to be able to play to get out. And so he has to try to force the ball here to Tyler. Tyler doesn't necessarily have much going forward or isn't ready to be able to play forward. So it's difficult. The forward is actually pressing two players, which shouldn't happen. Now, again, we have an opportunity here possibly to play Ethan, but the forward's pretty close to him. This is one of those areas where you might want to drop deeper in to receive the ball. Jack would pull out and allow Billy to work this angle. So, we have a little bit more spacing in the midfield. But in this case, we still have Jack here as an option, but it's really just a one-touch option. If he did play this pass, it would be in and out right away, or in and possibly to Ethan running into space underneath it. Those are the options, really. But indecision here really is what leads to this, not enough talking from players, not enough demanding of the ball. Players aren't certain what he's going to do next. He's not, necessarily not certain what he's going to do next, but he dribbles into a player and basically forces himself to pass, and they're able to win the ball in a dangerous area. Nothing really comes of it. It's a throw in deep in our area, but you can just see, a little bit of a hesitation. Not necessarily, when we do break pressure, we definitely need to just continue advancing the ball up the field as opposed to going backwards. And then, once we do get in a tight spot, we have to be a little bit more decisive. Possibly looking long here. If it's not on for us to play short, this is the chance for us to get out, especially early in the game. I think this is probably the first, 5 minutes of the game. Let's look to play long into their area and pick up the pieces from there, and not necessarily lose the ball in our own half. In this clip, you'll see another example of our diagonal ball into space. Good combination, good pressure initially to win us the ball. We're breaking quickly. Again, we work the ball across the field. That's the trigger a lot of the times for us, is that a player on the wide spot or even in the middle cuts across the field and is looking for a ball into space. It's just to the wrong angle and the wrong space that we're hitting the ball to. Both Billy and Jack here are pretty much in a good spot had this ball come into more of a corner area. But instead, we're hitting the ball basically to the center of the field, and it really isn't a good ball by Daniel, even though it was on for us to attack those spaces. So you can just see it one more time. Right, he does a good job of creating space for himself. He sees the runs from Jack, but it's just not accurate enough. He's putting too much spin on it. It goes, probably 10 to 15 yards away from where it needs to be, and neither player is able to capitalize on the space that's available to them. In this video, you'll see good, possession out of the back, leading to a good cross and nearly, a good run by Billy that nearly scores or nearly gets on the end of it. Good ball into Ethan. We switch a point of attack. Good ball into space for Daniel, and he's looking for an early service, which is what we want. Billy's a little late to getting there, but overall it's a good play. I think had he committed a little bit early to getting in the space, he might have gotten there. But it's a decent ball by Daniel and a decent run by Billy. I think it just highlights some of the simple play that we can do to attack the flanks and cross the ball into the space that our forwards can run onto. In this clip, we win the ball quickly and switch a point of attack and look for a reverse pass back actually into the runners, and you'll see as it develops here, it's good. We win the ball, a little bit of luck there. But we're looking to play out to the other side of the field, which is what you want. Typically I would want as this play is developing, it's aware that that we've won the ball. We're aware that we won the ball. Cam possibly run into this space. Our spacing isn't great. Our number 11. Daniel in this place is all the way on this half of the field and receiving the ball, which isn't good spacing for us to break. But it does a good job here. Jack running off the shoulder of Yassine. Yassine is taking 3 players basically out of the picture. This defender, I think, recognizes at the last second that he probably needs to drop in. Decent ball into space. Had Jack received this, or had Jack been able to play Yassine first time, I think it would have been a great option for us. Ends up going through his legs, or ends up leaving it for Billy. Billy does a good job of getting onto it. Just a better service to the back post, and I think we had a goal. Nearly gets there. Ball comes back. Good ball there by Tyler. And again, it's one of those situations where if you know the pressure's coming, I think you play one touch, but we don't. I think Abel gets caught in possession here, and they're able to clear the lines. And that's those are the situations where I'm being a little bit hard on our attacking midfielders, but that's what we need from you guys at times, is that you're able to play quickly under pressure, especially in these tight areas when you know the pressure is going to come. If you're in close by the goal, you have to expect pressure because they're trying to get the ball away from their area. The pressure is going to be high, players are going to be active, and it's in this instance, you probably play into to Abel. Tyler receives the ball back, and we work the ball to Ethan, and then we work the other side of the field, or we get service from this area. Turning into the pressure, right, is the last option for us, because you're turning into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. There's not much to do in this area, so this is what our attacking midfielders have to get better at. In these moments right here, play the way you're facing. Can you slip the ball to Billy? Maybe not. Can Tyler work the ball back into this space, and can we switch to point of attack? Because their numbers are on this side of the field. And this clip is another decent example of our sequencing of good passing. Nearly getting behind on our first attempt, and I think the second attempt you'll see probably had better options. Good play, first time ball by Abel there. Initially, his head's up, he's looking. Good interplay here between him and Ethan, and it's this moment here. You probably have Cam to play as well, but he's looking to attempt to play a ball into space, which is good. And it barely misses, right? If he's a little bit more height, a little bit more loft on the ball instead of drive, I think we have a ball into space and we're attacking that zone. It gets cut out. A little bit of composure here. I know he's probably trying to play the ball over the defender. Good pick up by Ethan. We work the ball again through the midfield. Back to the other side. And here you'll see Jake look to play another long ball into space. And as his ball's traveling, slowly, you'll notice that Jack actually is in a good gap that probably could have received the ball to his feet. It's not accurate. We're probably looking to play Billy here and then, probably lay it off or even play the ball into space. I think Billy made a run in behind, and the ball is too short. It comes way too short here, and the defender is able to pick up the pieces, and we're not able to win the ball because Jack slipped. But as we rewind it, I think as this ball's moving across the field, there was an opportunity here, to put a ball in between these two defenders on the ground for Jack, right? This ball into Jack is just as dangerous as the ball into Billy, right? We're breaking the midfield pressure, which is what we're trying to do when we're building out of the back. The player who receives the ball, as we're building, the player who is able to see the field and advance the ball up the field must try to find, the weak side midfielder or a retreating or, a forward who's dropped into space and attack the spaces on the other side of the midfield. And I think we had an opportunity here just to slip a pass to Jack where he can turn upfield and attack the back four or back five in this instance. Another good sequencing of passing for us. And it really is just the ideas are good, so I want to highlight them, but the execution can be better. And as we work this and watch the video, we do a good job of winning the ball, playing one touch, moving the ball quickly, playing in a triangle, which is good. And as Billy gets this ball, he's looking up, and you can see a run by Daniel. And had he hit this ball with just a little bit more, into more space, I think he would have been in, right? They're retreating. That's basically the last defender that we see here, number 3. Right, they're both marking Yassine, which is what we're looking for. Yassine is looking to get the ball probably into space over here initially, and Daniel's working off of that. And you'll see a number of times either Tyler or Cam or in this case Billy, we're not able to find the long pass into space. It needs to be 5 to 10 yards longer than we're actually looking. We're putting the ball where the player was initially, or where the run started from, but not where the run will end up, and that's really the difference. And I think we have good ideas, but we're not executing properly on the pass. Now we do a good job of winning that ball back, and again, the idea here to play Daniel probably is good, but it's just too short, right? He's not looking. Probably could have gone into space, and we probably could have gotten in again. Just highlighting that one more time. Good vision here. That's the part that's important. I'm not sure what, if Tyler could get this ball in this space. It's probably too tight for that, but initially it was good triangle play by these three to get out of pressure. Yassine is the decoy run here, basically drawing players away, and Daniel's the run that we're looking for, but it's behind him, right? It's a yard or two behind him when it needs to be a yard or two in front of him. This is the sequence of plays that leads up to the goal. And as you'll see here, they play a long ball that goes to nobody, really. We're able to pick up the pieces. We play a long ball, and we're the first to it and the second to it. Defender obviously makes a mistake here in terms of reading the play, but it's a good running off the ball. Was it intelligent long ball? Probably not. We're probably hitting it, but we're in good spots. Yassine reads, sees where Daniel is. Daniel's reading Yassine. We're able to get in behind on a breakaway, and he finishes it. So good, good recognition, good interplay, and a good goal. Right? We get in behind quickly. Doesn't necessarily have to always be pretty, but we take advantage of the defender's mistakes. You'll see here, another chance on goal. Basically, get in behind. We're pretty aggressive this entire game, especially in the first half, in terms of trying to get in behind, trying to press the issue, and really it's just good knock-on type play, good forward attacking. In my opinion, that's what Daniel should have done here and dribbled. Just didn't take the right first touch. The goalkeeper read it, but just going back to our attitude, we win the ball. We're looking to get forward quickly. One touch, one touch, one touch. That's very good. Recognition of our options, and he's on sides as this ball's kicked. Referee did a very good job here. Right, he's just even with the defender as he's crossing. His arms don't count, and he's in on goal, which is good play by all three of the players here, recognizing that as one touch. The only other, I even screened while you're doing this to dribble the keeper. The keeper comes out, he's flat-footed. Just a little bit more, probably more speed. Using more of a speed move to get beyond him might have been the option, because you allow the defender to come back in because of how slow you're going. If you had gone a little bit faster, you probably could have gone to the inside, right, and got a better shot on goal. I think that was what I was thinking. But decent effort here. Your scoop turn, basically you're faking the shot and then looking to hit it, but this went too far, right? That's probably where you should be shooting the ball if you did that turn, right? Just touch and hit. Basically, the goalkeeper can't get to it, but it goes a bit too far. Now the defender and the goalkeeper are able to recover in behind. But that's the option I would have taken. I like to dribble the goalkeeper when they're flat-footed like that, and they're basically waiting for your attack. Just use your speed to run by them. The other option would have been to chip. It's a little bit more difficult. You see Messi do that often in these situations. He'll just chip it over the keeper as they're running out. And that's the other option. Or just shooting it around him, so like you did in the first goal. But really what I'm highlighting is just our attitude towards how we're playing. Especially when this is a situational game where we have to win. They don't have to necessarily have to win, but now that we're up a goal, we're still continuing to press the issue, and it's good one-touch passing here. Everyone's knocking it forward, getting it forward, and everyone sees the next pass, which is great. Just do a little bit better job on finishing. This is an example of excellent play out of the back. We'll just let it run through. A lot of the ideas that you see here are being used in other situations as well. We're just not executing as well or as quickly. We get the ball out, get it back to the keeper on a goal kick, which is good. Good play. We're in good spots, and now we're deciding to play out. Tyler, Abel are in good areas, and this is just good, confident play, right? He's wide open. Let's use him. All it takes is a good ball. And again, we've seen a couple of these diagonal balls or long balls by Rafael, but this one is pinpoint right to Billy. He's able to bring it down first touch. He does a good job here of turning and recognizing that there's no one on him. and Tyler's running off of it. Probably a little bit too tight for my liking in terms of where Abel is, but we do have options going across the field if we needed to. You know, Jackson in a good spot, Tyler's running in around. It's our typical, the ball's in a wide spot to our forward's feet, and players are able to run off of it. Right, in this case, Abel's in a decent spot. Tyler has gone into space. Really, this ball is not the easiest ball, but what's required is an outside of the foot with the right foot to spin the ball towards Tyler. He ends up hitting it with the inside of his foot, and the ball curves, as you can see, towards the defender instead. Just a little bit of a nitpick, but that's really what's required in this instance if you want to be able to play this ball to Tyler, is an outside of the football. As you can see here, though, you know, the space is available for us to chip a ball into space again across the field because they're reading the initial runs. In this case, it's Tyler that looks most open, and if we have a little bit more, you know, possible activity here from Yassine in terms of asking for the ball, perhaps maybe this defender doesn't retreat over this direction, and maybe this pass is on, or maybe he does still track this, and now, you know, Yassine is on into space. But as you can see, I think it's getting the ball into the feet of the forwards. You know, however we do it. In this case, a perfect long ball out of the back. And if it's on for us, right, to play, players are running off of it. He's able to turn. He's able to see the field. Billy, in this instance, you know, Abel probably needs to be in a position in case if we lose the ball, right, probably in here, or if we want to work the ball across the field. If Billy couldn't turn, right, that's probably where Abel should be standing. In this case, he's running in on off the play as well. Both players on the weak side are available if we needed, and as this play develops, you can see what was really needed. It's a good idea. It's just a little bit more of a higher level executed pass, where in terms of using the outside of our foot to spin the ball into the path, and really just thinking about what that type of ball is needed, or a ball into the space here. So just a number of different options, and it's good play because we have numbers. We have good runs off the ball. Players can see the field, and those are the different factors that we want to look for when we're playing. In this example, you just see an attack which I think stalled on one side of the field, and we need to recognize when we need to switch a point of attack. So a long ball off a goal kick. We pick up the second ball, which is good. We're looking to play forward. You know, often in this game and in a lot of our games this tournament, we're looking to get the ball forward quickly. You know, we're in good spots. We have good numbers, right? 4 players on this side, and we got 3 players attacking the other side. And that's the shape that we typically attack in. Now, in this case, Cam's not getting in around. He's you know, in a negative space here. Jack's underneath it in a good spot. But we got good triangle play, as you can see. We're in good gaps. Probably had an opportunity to play a long ball there, but we decided not to. And it goes out of bounds. Oops. And as we get the ball here, you know, typically on these throw-ins in the wide spot, especially near the corner flag, it's the umbrella in situation. We want to work the ball around them, or at least go backwards first before trying to go forward. Unless we can catch them on a break sometime, then this is the opportunity for us to possibly work the ball behind, right? Cam is here for early service. Ethan is here for switching point of attack or looking to give and go with Abel. I think Abel should do it, you know, his body language isn't the greatest. He probably needs to be a little bit more alert and ready to play and dictating play, and by telling Daniel what to do. He's probably dropping into the space over here. But we end up trying to do a 1v1 or 1v2, right? And this is where we need to recognize possibly, let's go the other way, right? Instead of trying to take 2 players on, which is low percentage play, let's work the ball behind and back and draw them out, because they're set up. They're set up to defend, right? As a player, you know, they recognize your abilities. They're going to have 1 player pressing and 1 player covering, and you know, you do a good job of you know, drawing that, but now we got to play out of it. We earn a throw-in, which is not bad. And again, this is the 3rd time we're basically attacking the same side. We just need to recognize, and we're going 1 versus 2 again. We try to play through, but it's not enough. I think Yassine needs to recognize again, the space for him is to go backwards. It's a good attempt to try to do a give and go, but you know, and had we gotten through, we probably had a decent chance in crossing. But a lot of times these plays are offsides, right? Because the line is even with these players. Like, they have a good line right now, so any give and go opportunity has to be, you know, perfect, right? The timing has to be exact. You can't go too early. And I think had we have players. Look at this situation, and I would say Abel needs to move over here. But 1, 2, 3, 4 players around the ball, around the area of their pressure, and all it requires is that as we get this ball here, it's back to Cam, one touch. Either Cam serves it, or depending on the pressure, if this guy runs at him, he can turn out and play Jack. As this guy's coming, we can play Ethan, or you can give and go with Cam and get the ball, into a deeper spot in here and possibly get service. But as the ball is working around, these guys are going to start to pull up, and that's where the space is created for us to attack. Now as this ball is going from Cam to Jack to Ethan, somebody can slip in here and get the ball. Maybe Abel can get the ball underneath. We go into you, Daniel, or into Yassine and out to Abel, and Abel can shoot, or find Billy or Tyler or whoever's playing on the outside. But we don't do a good enough job of spreading them out. We're playing into their pressure in these situations, and it's low percentage play, right? If we get through, yes, and the plays that we have gotten through in the past, it does lead to good stuff. But more times, I have found more examples of us failing in these situations where we're wide when we try to play through the pressure than when we try to play around it and then penetrate. Just wanted to highlight one of their better chances in the first half. They really only had a couple chances in the first half. This was resulting out of us poor play out of the back. I think we ended up, I'm not showing it here, but we ended up trying to playing out of the back through Tyler and, or maybe I think it's Dean and Jake, and ended up kicking out of bounds accidentally. And this is the ensuing corner kick that leads, that they create a good chance on. Initial ball's not won, but players aren't following the play. They're assuming the ball is going to be cleared, right, and not sticking with runners as we walk, as we go through slowly. We don't win that initial ball, right? But everyone's kind of just watching and not necessarily reacting to the play. And really, this player should score. I mean, he whiffs it. Unfortunately for us, he does. I mean, he misses the ball, but we need to continue following the play. I think Raphael or Billy are on this player as we rewind it. I'm not exactly sure. Neither one is really sealing their player off to begin with. As I watch this again, watch the difference between Cam. You can barely see what he's doing because he's behind the referee. But watch his left arm and his right arm. You can see him how he's kind of wrapping himself around the defender, around the attacker. That's what's needed in these situations, right? He's basically boxing him out from the ball. And as you can see, his player is not able to run onto this ball because he's still staying. He's holding him in that position. He hasn't run. The referee's in the way. But as you can see, he's holding him. He's preventing him from getting to the ball. And that's what's needed here by the other players. Because really all the players besides Cam's player are available to win this ball, right? We're all three of these players right here, 1, 2, 3, Ethan, Raphael, and Billy are ball watching, right? They're basically seeing the ball and not necessarily able to see their man. Both, I think it's either Billy or Raphael leave their player. Ethan, I'm not exactly sure if he's on this player or that player, but he's basically not marked. These players aren't in a position of being sealed off, and they're able to run in free. Had this ball bounced right around here, 14 would have gotten it. In fact, it went to the back post, so this player, I think is number 11, is able to get onto the ball, and no one's there to stop it. So just wanted to highlight some of the defensive responsibilities. And you can see Cam kind of fighting his player trying to get in behind him, and you can see him pushing and preventing him from getting there. And I kind of just noticed that now, but that's what's needed in this situation as players are challenging for the ball. Seal your player off, don't let him run in on the ball, and then you got to be the first person to react and not give up on the play until the ball's been cleared completely. Don't assume that the ball's going to be cleared. Don't just take a break and just watch it. As a forward, he's doing the right thing, number 11. He's taking a chance on the ball just dropping anywhere, right? He's running in behind. He doesn't know where it's going to go, so he continues his run. That's where we need to block him and prevent him from getting in there. In this clip, you'll just see, poor play out of the back. I think we're a bit too casual. Not enough players are actively looking for the ball, and it causes problem. They're able to get a free kick out of this, which was pretty dangerous. So I'll let it run. All right, pick up the ball. Raphael does the right thing of getting into space. I think Jake needs to do the same thing so that Brendan can push up, but he's in a good spot. And really, the pressure isn't good enough for me, and I can tell, he's probably maybe 8, 9 yards away for us to just immediately play back to the keeper. I don't think he's done enough to warrant us. So you can see he's still not far enough away. So in my mind, not looking forward. I think Ethan needs to be looking at the ball. I don't, at this play, in this instance, and I think that's what Raphael sees, is that no one is showing for this ball, so he's not going to look forward. But I think he can, right? Draw the player a little bit over more, look to play Cam and play down line, because that's where we're trying to get the ball to. Here, again, there's no real pressure, but Jake hadn't initially gotten deep and wide, so Tony's probably a little bit being cautious and not playing him as he's doing that, because this player is coming to press. So Raphael is probably still the best option, and again, the receiving, you have to receive down line. I know you're right-footed, but the tendency not to use the proper foot here is what's closing the field off to you. Now, taking a touch back towards your own net is, if I was this forward, I would just start chasing after the ball. I would start working the ball or pressing the ball, the keeper, and reading your body. And this is what's going to happen against good teams, that he's going to start to close down your left foot because he knows you want to play with your right. This player is going to read that, and they're able to snatch onto the ball. We need players in here now to get this pass. There's not enough pressure here. There's one player on you. One player here. We have 3 guys here that need to get the ball, and I think we need to look to possibly play out on that side of the field more as opposed to cutting back the ball. And I think here again we're panicking with this ball. Early in the game, Tony hit a good ball to Billy from this position, but without anybody in this space, this is a dangerous pass to make because, right, there's no one here to cover. Right, a bad ball on the ground, and this guy reads it, and they're in on goal. There also is an opportunity possibly here to play out wide. I think Jake now is in a good position. There's no need to panic here and just hit a ball upfield. I think we have an opportunity to play the ball wide and, get the ball out this side of the field. They're not really pressing us. It's really our just poor decision making, our how we receive the ball, and then just inaccurate passing that leads to them, in good spots. And we have to basically have to foul to stop the play. I'm not showing the free kick here, but it was on frame, right? This is 20 yards out. It's almost the perfect distance to curl the ball in. Luckily they don't hit the ball hard enough, and Tony saves it. But you can see this, just the indecision, the lack of confidence. Technically speaking, making errors, and I think we can do a better job. We've shown examples of where we do a better job of moving the ball around quickly. Players who are in front of it are asking for the ball, and we're able to break this very simple pressure, which is just 3 players, right? They're not really pressing us, and I think we can do a better job, definitely, of moving the ball quickly and using our space. Here's another example of a passing sequence out of the back. I think we definitely could do better on. Starts with a free kick in our own end. And I like the fact that we're looking to play short, which is fine by me. One-touch passing. Brendan does a good job of losing his defender. Good hold-up play by Eric. Probably could do a one-touch pass, but he doesn't. But in this case, the way we receive the ball, the way that Raphael received the ball, it closes himself off to seeing that, the other side of the field. Jake, Tony, all of this is open for us. There's 4 players here, and as this ball comes back, there's literally no one on the other side of the field, right? It's easy for us to, this is the instance where not being able to use your left foot or not being as strong with your left foot, dictates a lot of your decision making, because he wants to put the ball on his right so he can play a long ball. Whereas if you were more confident with your left, you would obviously open up to that side of the field and see that as an option and easily play. And other examples, that we've had similar to this, this is where I'm looking for other players to help make decisions. As you play the ball to someone, tell them where to play the ball. The players off the ball need to be loud and demanding of it, right? Especially if you see and you're looking and you see you have space, you should be screaming for this ball from Raphael. And I think really the only people who are asking for this ball are the forwards, and I think that's why he's looking to play long. But it's just the preparation isn't good. The ball's inaccurate. It's back into pressure, right? There's 2v2 over here, and as we play this ball, as you can see, there's no one on this side of the field. Even further, try to rewind it slowly. Look at all of this space over here. I mean, there's literally not anyone on this side of the field. We can easily work out to Jack, who's in this gap right here, if we just had a little bit more composure on the ball if players were dictating his play, Rafael's play, by talking to him. If he, was more confident in using his left foot here instead of having to receive to his right all the time, right? He receives the ball here to his left. He'll see it, right? And this is our opportunity to really break teams down that don't have good shape, and play out the other side. And so we just got to recognize these moments and just realize, can we get the ball to the other side of the field? If not, then we're looking for that long ball, maybe over top of the guys that are here to get to the other side or get to our forwards. But in this case, they're not. They are all pressing on this side of the field. Let's just switch to point of attack and go the other way. In this clip, you'll see a good chance on goal, or a good shot for them, a good chance for them on the break. And as this play develops, just talk through the different points that I see. We do a good job of closing spaces down and winning that ball. Ethan wins it, is able to switch a point of attack, which is what we want. Find the outlet, player who can see the field. Jack works the ball to the other side of the field, which is good. Now we're in good spots. We have 3 or 4 players around the ball. Good ball here to Jack. Jack, good ball into Daniel. And really, that's the pass that kills us. And I'll come back to it, but this is what leads from that loss of possession. They break, and really he should score. 1-0 late in the half, and our possession, a bad possession, leads to a quality chance. I mean, if this player was left-footed, and this is you seeing he's burying this ball. Unfortunately he misses, and I go back. You can see me getting upset for the missed pass. It's not the ideas are good, which is what I like about this. It's just the choice of risking this type of pass in this situation. The Cruyff pass from Daniel is necessary to me. It's not needed. I'd rather a simple pass. And I understand, at least from a player's perspective, you want to try these things in games or in practices. And that's where I think, having looked back at it again, I'm like, I'm not as upset about it. But if this had cost us the game, or this had made the game tougher for us, then that's the situation where the team aspect of it comes into play. It's like we're at midfield, we're trying to build an attack. This is probably the area where most transition goals come from. If we lose the ball here, they're able to still attack quickly and score a goal. So it's probably not the right place to try it. It's not necessary, right? It's not required. A simple normal pass would have worked. And so it's just a risk versus reward. It's late in the half, right? It's understanding all the factors that go into this, the situation, where we are on the field, how important is it, and it's 1-0 late in the half, and can we just keep possession here with a good simple pass? We lose it, right, and they're off to almost score, and that's really what is troubling for me in this play. It's not necessarily the type of the one-touch passing that is a problem. I think it's good one-touch passing. I think it's just decision to try to use a Cruyff there probably isn't the best option for us. And I think we do make a simpler decision that keeps us possession. I think he would have gotten the ball back, a little 1-2, and he would have been on goal probably to break pressure. But instead we, try a Cruyff pass. And if you remember from the Manhattan game, a similar type of play happened where we tried a Cruyff pass. Luckily, this time we got the ball. In that situation, we got the ball back. But being at midfield, you got to be a little bit less risky, right? Try some stuff that's simple that keeps possession, because they're one passer into our half, and they're able to counterattack it. And as you can see from that one pass, this is what happens. Defensively, as I looked at this, were there areas where we could have done better? I think they just did a good job of counterattacking. They play in, they play across, they play wide, the player brings it down. He's able to slot a pass. Brendan's doing his best to recover here. He probably was advanced up the field, which is another reason why it was dangerous for us to lose the ball in that situation. I think Rafael probably needs to do a better job of tracking this runner. That's one area that I think he's not really running at full speed. The urgency isn't there. He probably thinks that Brendan's going to get this ball, but he should be sprinting after this player. And he does at the very end, and he does a good job of putting him off the shot, because if Rafael wasn't there, obviously the defender or the forward would have scored easily. But he does a good job of running off, running the player away from the goal and making it harder for him to score. But just overall, it's risk versus reward for me. I don't want to discourage players from trying things, but understanding the team dynamics and what we're trying to accomplish, sometimes to trump that, those are for more practice level things that you want to try and practice, and and maybe against lesser competition and lesser important competition is where you'll probably try those type of passes and get good at them, and eventually you will. But in this situation, I thought it was a poor decision to try to use a fancier pass when you could have used a simple pass. I think that's what caused the pass to be inaccurate. And this time something came of it. More times than not, probably nothing comes of it. But this time they were able to counterattack and nearly score on us. So that's the reason why I'm bringing it up.